How about Chance Hymas? Looks good on that Honda, huh?
Looks really good on that Honda. And for all the talking pundits that said we didn't know we were talking about, well, I guess you can check off another box that we weren't wrong. I don't say that arrogantly, but some of the hate DMs I got that, oh, he's been a Team Green rider forever. You don't know your ass from a hole in the ground. Look, people, I have absolutely no vested interest to come up here and stir shit that I haven't gotten from valid resources.
Yes.
Like you and I talked about off the record with Hopper, I don't know if Deegan's going to come out here in the next week or so and say, yep, we switched to Yamaha, or if he's,
Well,
I don't know how the amateur.
Minios.
Well, but that's the $1 million question. If it's a pro deal, then yes, October 1st, it would have been up. If it's an amateur deal, it's probably going to be after Minios because it'll be January to January.
Yeah.
But I just can't wait. I talk to 15 people a week, and it's not if Deegan is signed. They're talking about the specificity of what's going on behind the scenes. And yet you've got these keyboard warriors and these various platforms and these different forums going, who is this idiot? People, you don't realize how dumb you're going to look when Deegan comes out that he's on Yamaha and has been on Yamaha for a long period of time. And KTM is pissed because it got out and they're mad at us because we brought it up. And I love these little keyboard warriors. I can't believe you didn't leave it to Deegan to make that announcement. Really? Really?
Oh,
why don't you go back into your parents?
Don't challenge the Deegan army. They come at you strong.
Go back into your parents' basement and sit there in your boxers and play your Xbox and your whatever virtual reality. Look, I love Deegan. I think everything Deegan is doing is great for the sport. Can't wait to see him at the goat farm. But this has been done for a while. Quit acting as if nothing's going to happen. And hey, let's go into our little looking glass. What's going to happen? Oh, well, when it came out that we had signed with Yamaha, we hadn't, but we got great offers and we've decided we're going to go Yamaha. That's what's going to be the new narrative. Come on.
And there's nothing wrong with that. It's great. It keeps him in the news. Deegan knows exactly what he's doing.
Brian
so as soon as it started to calm down,
yep.
Brian was at Paula watching the race. He put a picture of Dylan Ferrandis up on his Instagram. And he put Hayden scouting the competition. I put, or your future teammate. Of course he liked it. Like, come on. It's the breadcrumbs, people.
Brian's
Deegan knows what he's doing.
I love Brian. Yeah. Well, and that's the funny part is Brian is the master of marketing. I love the guy to death. He doesn't realize it, but like when we were at Loretta's, we were standing right next to each other for the last 2 years. His rider's racing against my rider, Logan Best against Deegan, whether it's on 85s. This year, Logan jumped up to the 125. So yeah. But the people that say, oh, what's Beams got against Deegan? Not a damn thing. They're brilliant. Who in their right mind, how old is Deegan this year?
I'm not sure.
15? 1 million followers? Is there anybody on the internet that's not a gamer that has 1 million followers at that age? No. I mean, I think it's PewDiePie. The gamers got the most, but my point is high five, knuckle punch Deegan.
I don't know who PewDiePie is, coach.
Dude, I don't
even know what PewDiePie is.
My son got into gaming really, really hardcore. And here in Orlando, they had a gaming challenge, right?
Yeah. I've seen the.
Yeah. Well, my son, I asked him, I just said straight up, I said, who's the biggest gamer? He goes, PewDiePie. I thought he was being smart ass. I go, PewDiePie?
I thought you were being smart ass.
No exaggeration. The next week, the Wall Street Journal puts out an article about who's the strongest influencers in and on the internet and YouTube. And I'll be damned if I don't read PewDiePie. So I go to YouTube and I type it in. Sure enough, he has the most subscribers than anybody else on the internet. And all he does is, not all, but one of the big things he does is he games, he films it, and kids sit there and freaking watch a dude play games.
Well, think about it, Coach. If you could go log on to Roxon's and watch him ride and go back and try and mimic it, would you pay it? Hell yeah, I would. I would.
But here's the difference. Here's the difference. Riding a motorcycle challenges you and I and our listeners to do something that most people can't do, which I think is cool. Challenge ourselves physically and mentally. Fucking sitting on watching somebody. No. To watch somebody play a video game that has absolutely no risk, no sweat equity, no physical challenges. I have a hard time with it.
It's like watching someone play golf. You're not watching you're watching because you know how hard it is to hit that ball 300 yards. Those kids know how hard it is to do the things that he does on the game that they probably can't do.
I
And that's just
understand,
all it
Chris.
is.
I understand, Chris, but there's a difference between sitting with a handheld device and trying to figure out what club to use and base the distance and have the flexibility and the power and the mental tenacity to block out 10,000 people on the galley. I can't even put
what
them
if
in
it were
the same.
chess? Would you be mad? Like, what if somebody were following a chess player?
I have no problem with the chess. I just like I
That's
don't
the
have a
same
problem
as a
with
video game.
No, what I'm saying is when I wouldn't put chess in the same category as watching Roxon, though,
No,
because the risk that I've got to do to watch, let's go with Jet Lawrence or Hunter Lawrence, watching them wheel tap something where they come out and just tap the top of it and almost go up and over it. I know the inherent risk. You know the inherent risk. What's the fucking inherent risk of hitting the X button versus the O button on your controller? I mean, come on, dude.
I know, but
there's no way that you're
yes,
going to
I get it. I see
there's
where you're
no
coming from.
way you can get me into the same realm of physical of golf and moto to a fucking Xbox. No way.
I'm just
Jose.
saying a challenge is a challenge, and you use just like figuring out how to mount a tire on YouTube.
But there's a risk with that. You do that wrong, you lose a finger. You do that wrong, you get another flat. You do something wrong,
Apples,
and you
oranges. It's all fruit. It's all fruit.
No, not when you're talking
different.
how many lives you've got on.
I agree.
Fortnite.
I'm just telling you, there clearly a lot of people agree with me because they follow him.
No. You're exactly right. There is a tremendous amount.
Going back to Chance Hymas.
Yeah.
So what he's going to do is he's going to do amateur next year, possibly pro in 23.
Mm-hmm.
What I was told is he's not going to go pro until he's top 5 right out of the gate, which I think is brilliant. I love that they're not going to rush him.
Yeah.
He might even it could be as late as 24. But I like that they're not rushing him. Like right now, I don't believe that Pro Circuit has announced their team.
Yeah.
Jet Reynolds is on it. He got smoked at Loretta's. I don't know what else to say. He didn't look good. He didn't look like a guy that was about to turn pro and be on a top team. I know he's got talent because I've seen him. But I love that they're not set on a timeline for Chance Hymas. So if something happens, they can push it back. Where with Jet, they were just stuck. So any thoughts on that, Coach?
Absolutely. Who's his agent?
Of course. Chance Hymas' agent is Lucas Myrtle.
And so when you look at that if-then statement that you just outlined, next year, all amateur, the end of the season, he can go run some outdoor nationals, get his feet wet, size himself up. Who would put in the contract that there's a stipulation if you're not ready, you go amateur a second year with, of all teams, HRC?
Oh, brilliant.
That's brilliant contract negotiations that, once again, I don't care if the listeners think that we have a man crush on Myrtle. I don't. What I have a man crush on is the integrity, the way he redesigns contracts, the way he stands up for his athletes. He'll even go get fired for it. If he stands up for what he believes, he's willing to take the axe because he'll go to sleep at night knowing he stated the truth. The OEMs know it. And if they still fire him, he recognizes he tried to do the best for the athlete. And if he gets axed, it's okay.
Yeah.
I love that about him. I
hope. Do you know much about Jet Reynolds? Is he a good supercross rider?
I know that his facility, because as you know, we've actually held a performance camp at his facility in Bakersfield. He rides supercross quite well. The biggest challenge is going to be, and I don't know him personally. I know when he was working with Jeff Ward, I talked to Jeff a little bit. You know, the thing that I have to ask as a physiologist, and this is not about Jet, it's not about any particular rider. You can go backwards in time. What do we always say about the second injury? It's always a result of not recovering from the first injury. What happens to your range of motion and your durability when you get injured? It goes down. Why? Because you can't cross train. You can't rebuild yourself. How many, if you look at it almost like an integer line, you build yourself up 3, you get injured, you go back 5, and you get that consecutively over 2 or 3 years, you're always going to be in the negative. So I would love to see him be able to redeem himself. I see him kind of in the same track as Austin Faulkner. His contracts as an amateur were pretty damn promising. And I think those are now, again, don't hold me to this, I haven't spoken to their agent. You know, my thing is I think that the check boxes is whatever they being Cowie was obligated to, they're just checking off the boxes. It's kind of like we heard earlier in the year that Faulkner's going to get a chance to go to 450. If you see when we go outdoors next year, if Faulkner all of a sudden's on a 450, it's checking of the box because that's what was promised. They're essentially going to do it. If he makes lemonade out of lemons, great. If he shits the bed, they can check the box and say, we did what we obligated to do. We're out. That's what's going to happen if you guys understand contracts very well.
And then props to them for keeping Seth Hamaker. I'm glad.
Hell yes.
Because
Hell
he
yes.
won a Supercross, and usually that means you're in for the team, but we know that that's not always the case. And I'm glad that he's a good kid, and I'm glad he's going to get another shot. And he'll probably bring him a Supercross title. I don't know about outdoors, and I don't know about how his health, and it didn't look good, but shit, Supercross all that matters anyway, Coach.
Well, in how smart will Seth look halfway through Supercross when he bowed out of outdoors? And let's just say, just for even conversation on the show here tonight, you're looking at 8 to 10 weeks of not racing. Then you have the little bit of off season that we have. Let's say that equates, just on a mathematical standpoint, 4.5 months, where everybody else has just finished outdoors trying to regroup. That was the best move that Seth and his team could have ever done. Getting Rookie of the Year doesn't hurt on the negotiations for next year. The fact that your fill-in rider ended up being able to finish outdoors creates a lot of in-team competition, which I think is awesome. Mitch loves that. If you look back to the heyday when, Mitch has always had a 4-man team, and whether you had Rattray on there with Baggett, whether, doesn't matter, when Ricky was on there with Grant, what was it, right? Mitch likes to create a team where there's a race within the team.
Iron
and
iron.
Damn sure Seth wants to beat Joe Shimoda this next year. No doubt.
Oh, absolutely. And then we had a really big, back to Honda.
Yes.
Eric Kehoe was with HRC for years, and he was at Honda of Troy. He's had a relationship with Honda for it's probably 1990.
Yeah.
He has retired, and I have some news.
What's that?
Watch for him on Triumph. I'm calling it right now. Eric Kehoe. I had a mutual friend that we have in the industry. He said it's not done. He's all, but
okay.
That's who Triumph has turned to get their racing going, is Eric Kehoe. And I'm like, duh, the guy knows what he's doing. So